The afternoon sun streamed through the tall windows of the Ashford mansion as Christopher Ashford finished his conference call and prepared to check on his 5-year-old daughter, Sophie. At 38, he had built his investment firm into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. But since his wife's death 2 years earlier, his greatest concern was ensuring Sophie received the best possible care for her cerebral palsy. Christopher paused at the bottom of the grand staircase when he heard something unexpected floating down from the second floor. Laughter. Not just any laughter, but the pure, joyful sound of his daughter's giggles mixed with gentle music and encouraging words from someone else. Sophie rarely laughed anymore. Since the accident that had taken her mother and left her needing crutches, and sometimes a wheelchair, she had become quiet and withdrawn, going through her physical therapy sessions with resigned compliance but little enthusiasm. The parade of nurses and caregivers who had worked with her were professional and competent, but none had managed to reach the bright, spirited child Christopher remembered from before the tragedy. Curious about this unexpected sound of happiness, Christopher climbed the stairs quietly and approached Sophie's room. What he saw through the partially open door stopped him completely. Anna Martinez, the young woman he had hired as Sophie's caregiver just 3 weeks earlier, was in the middle of the spacious room with Sophie. Anna wore her simple blue uniform with its crisp white apron, but she moved with surprising grace as she held Sophie's hands, supporting her weight while they swayed together to soft music playing from a small speaker. Sophie was standing without her crutches, leaning on Anna for balance, her face radiant with joy as they moved in a gentle, modified dance. Anna was humming along with the music, occasionally spinning Sophie carefully or dipping her slightly, each movement perfectly adapted to accommodate Sophie's physical limitations while still making her feel like she was truly dancing. "I am a real dancer, Anna," Sophie exclaimed with delight. "I am flying." "You are the most beautiful dancer I have ever seen," Anna replied with genuine warmth, her accent revealing her Mexican heritage. "Feel how the music moves through your body. You do not need perfect legs to have perfect rhythm in your heart." Christopher stood transfixed, watching his daughter experience something he had thought was lost to her forever. Pure, uninhibited joy. For 2 years, he had focused on expensive medical treatments, top physical therapists, and adaptive equipment, but he had never seen Sophie look as happy and alive as she did in this moment. "Can we dance to the princess song next?" Sophie asked breathlessly as the music ended. "Of course, mija," Anna replied, reaching for her phone to change the music. "But first, let us practice your walking steps. Remember what we talked about? Dancing is just another way of moving our bodies with purpose and beauty." Christopher watched as Anna patiently helped Sophie practice walking with her crutches, but transformed the physical therapy exercise into a game where Sophie was a princess, walking through her royal garden, stopping to smell imaginary flowers and greet imaginary subjects. The clinical nature of the rehabilitation exercises disappeared, replaced by storytelling and imagination that made Sophie eager to practice movements she had previously resisted. "Anna, watch this," Sophie said, carefully taking several steps with her crutches and then attempting a small twirl. It was unsteady and imperfect, but her pride in the accomplishment was radiant. "Magnificent," Anna cheered, clapping her hands. "You are getting stronger every day. Soon, you will be dancing at royal balls and teaching other princesses how to move with such grace." Christopher felt tears spring to his eyes as he realized that Anna had accomplished in 3 weeks what months of traditional therapy had not. She had given Sophie back her sense of possibility and joy in movement. More than that, she had seen past Sophie's disability to the spirited child within and found ways to nurture that spirit while supporting her physical development. As the impromptu dance session continued, Christopher noticed details that revealed Anna's remarkable understanding of Sophie's needs. She never made Sophie feel pitied or limited, instead treating her as a complete person whose way of moving was simply different from others. When Sophie grew tired, Anna seamlessly transitioned to quieter activities that still involved rhythm and music. When Sophie expressed frustration with her limitations, Anna gently redirected her attention to what her body could do rather than what it could not. "Anna," Sophie said, as they settled into chairs with glasses of water, "will you always be here?" To dance with me? Anna's expression grew thoughtful as she considered how to answer honestly without making promises she could not keep. Sophie, I will be here as long as your papa needs me to help take care of you. But even if someday I have to work somewhere else, the dancing we do together will always be inside you. No one can take away the joy you feel when you move to music. But I like dancing with you best, Sophie said with the directness of childhood. You make me feel like my legs work just fine. Your legs do work fine, Mija, Anna replied gently. They work differently than some people's legs, but they carry you where you want to go, and they can move to music, and they are part of the beautiful, strong girl you are. Christopher stepped back from the doorway, needing a moment to process what he had witnessed. In his focus on providing Sophie with the best medical care money could buy, he had overlooked something crucial. His daughter needed someone who could see her wholeness rather than her limitations, someone who could find ways to celebrate what she could do rather than constantly working to fix what she could not. That evening, after Anna had helped Sophie with dinner and her bedtime routine, Christopher asked if he could speak with her privately in his study. Anna, I want to thank you for what you are doing with Sophie, he began. I could not help but notice how happy she has been since you started working with her. Anna looked slightly uncomfortable, as if she were unsure whether she was being praised or critiqued. Mr. Ashford, I hope you do not think I have been neglecting her physical therapy. We do all the exercises the doctor prescribed, but I try to make them more enjoyable for her. Anna, what I saw today was not neglect, Christopher, I said firmly. What I saw was the most effective therapy Sophie has received since her accident. She was laughing, she was motivated to move, and she was proud of her accomplishments. How did you know to approach her care this way? Anna was quiet for a moment before responding. My younger brother has spina bifida, Mr. Ashford. I grew up watching him struggle not just with his physical challenges, but with feeling different and limited. I learned that the most important thing is to help children see their abilities rather than their disabilities, to find ways for them to experience joy and accomplishment in their own bodies. Christopher felt his respect for Anna deepen as he understood that her approach to Sophie's care came from personal experience and genuine understanding rather than just professional training. Anna, I have been thinking about Sophie's long-term care and development, Christopher continued. Would you be interested in expanding your role here? I would like to offer you a position not just as Sophie's caregiver, but as her companion and enrichment coordinator. The salary would be significantly higher, and you would have full authority to design programs and activities that support her emotional and physical development. Anna stared at him in amazement. Mr. Ashford, that is incredibly generous, but I need you to understand something about me. I do not have formal training in child development or special education. I am just someone who loves children and wants them to be happy. Anna, what you have is more valuable than any degree, Christopher replied. You have the ability to see Sophie as a whole person, to find her strengths and to help her celebrate what makes her special. That kind of insight cannot be taught in a classroom. 6 months later, Christopher stood in the same doorway, watching. Anna leads Sophie and 3 other children with various physical challenges in a dance class that had become the highlight of their week. Sophie's room had been transformed into a mini studio, and several other families had asked if their children could participate in what had become known as Anna's magic movement. You know, Christopher said to Anna as they watched Sophie help, a younger child learned to move his wheelchair in rhythm with the music. I spent 2 years trying to fix what was wrong with Sophie. You spent 3 weeks helping her discover what was right with her. Anna smiled, watching Sophie's confidence and joy as she encouraged her new friend. Sometimes the most important healing happens not when we repair what is broken, but when we celebrate what is beautiful exactly as it is. Sometimes the most profound transformations occur not through expensive treatments or professional interventions, but through the simple recognition that every person deserves to experience joy, movement, and the feeling that their unique way of being in the world is something to be celebrated rather than fixed.